This is not AI. I'm a real person. I just filtered the script and the text to make my point clearer. When you first get sober, it feels like a transformation, but it's really like standing in a silent room after years of noise. Your brain doesn't suddenly become enlightened. It slowly recalibrates. For a long time, alcohol trained your nervous system to seek shortcuts, fast dopamine, emotional numbing, easy confidence. Sobriety removes those artificial signals. And at first, the brain kind of panics. Anxiety rises. Sleep is strange. Emotions feel raw and unfiltered. But this discomfort is actually the beginning of what I like to refer to as a rewiring. Over the next weeks and months, the brain starts restoring its natural chemistry, which can be scary at times. Dopamine becomes earned instead of borrowed. You feel pleasure again from simple things. Conversation, walking, like finishing a task. Your memory sharpens. Your attention spans lengthen. You begin to notice how much of your old thinking was reactive rather than reflective. So instead of immediately escaping discomfort, you now just kind of sit with it. I mean, this alone can completely change everything. One of the most unexpected shifts is how conversations start to sound different. Not just in bars or parties, but even with family. You begin to hear the subtext beneath words. You notice patterns like deflection, exaggeration, emotional manipulation, performative opinions. Things you once accepted as normal talk now feel extremely, strangely scripted. You realize how many interactions were built on false narratives, stories people repeat about themselves to avoid change. The victim narrative is prevalent, the superiority narrative, the, this is who I am narrative. When you were drinking, you participated in these without question. They felt comfortable, even bonding. Now they feel really like hollow and empty. You feel like you're on the outside, and you are. Sobriety gives you a kind of emotional eyesight like you've never experienced before. You start seeing how often people talk around truth instead of towards it. How often conversations are about managing image, avoiding accountability, or reinforcing identity rather than exchanging reality. This can be unsettling, especially with family, because you see the same loops and they just keep repeating year after year, unchanged. The hardest part is judging others. It's realizing how deeply you once needed those narratives yourself. So when you judge others, it makes you feel like, I was that person. Alcohol wasn't just a substance. It was a social contract, a way to avoid silence, a way to blur contradictions, a way to make stagnation feel like living. So when all else failed and you were having a bad day, you just went and had a drink. Now, without it, your brain prefers coherence over chaos. You value clarity over comfort. You notice when some things don't align, even if it's subtle. You listen more than you speak. And when you do speak, you choose your words instead of using them to hide. This is an incredible feeling as soon as you get comfortable with it. Sobriety doesn't make you superior, it makes you accurate. And once your brain learns the difference between noise and signal, it becomes very hard to go back to pretending you're the same. Because, frankly, You're not the same. You're a new person now. You're living in a new world. People will leave. But trust me when I tell you, the right ones will stay. So stay true to your honesty. Stay true to yourself. Keep your conversations real. Over time, you will learn to challenge others, not in an argumentative or a forceful or a negative way. You will ask simple questions. When you feel like somebody is lying to you or making up a story, you'll say something like, "Is that really true, or are you just making that up?" That's when the real breakthrough happens. Here's the bottom line. Love yourself first. That's the key.